Hi everyone, today I want to share some tips on how I develop my intuition. And I have to say, it's quite a journey. And it's what I've seen with other people too, that the intuition often doesn't quite develop overnight, but it's step by step you gain more confidence. And the first thing why we may think that we can't perceive our intuition really well is that we don't really believe in our capability that we're able to do so. But actually, listening to the intuition is something so natural. Like if you see or observe children, they do that quite naturally. So, actually, in this society, in this world that is so egocentric, it's become really you've some people are already like considering you as weird when in truth it's the other way around. Like perceiving the intuition is actually something natural, but we're so in a kind of hypnotized world that no one realizes it. And the second thing I did was I first of all, sorry, I really opened myself up. I'm really like, okay, I became determined and I wanted to listen to my intuition. I set the intention to, and that's really important to really open yourself up. Because if you are kind of set the intention that you want to do it and that you're eager to learn it, even though you don't know how to do it or you cannot perceive it well, but open yourself up to the possibility because otherwise you always go like, oh, I cannot do it, I cannot do it. And guess what? Then you cannot do it. And so really the first step, like really open yourself up. The second tip I can give you is to really calm the mind because often we were kind of uh, trained to listen to the mind, to listen to our thoughts. We were not taught how to manage our internal world, let alone how to kind of manage our mind. And that's why I would say this is the most important thing to really calm the mind, calm the thoughts. The third thing is to really neutralize the emotions because when you want to listen to the intuition, you need a certain vibration, I would say. What I mean by that is that if you're constantly feeling anger and guilt and shame, and you're constantly in a frustrated way of being, it's very hard to perceive the intuition. So, really, it's about neutralizing the emotions, which can really help you perceive it much better. And the fourth thing, actually, this is a bonus tip, is to practice. It's all about practicing. You know what? I can know all the theory of how to drive a car. If I don't take lessons of actually driving a car, if I just stick that to the theory, I will never be able to do that. Probably, I can say, okay, you need to. This is the maximum speed you can go there, but if you don't know the functions in a car, it's very hard. So the most important thing is not the theory, it's the practice. You need to practice. And what I did, I always had tips and inspiration from other people. I let myself be inspired and learn more, but then I would always try it out myself. I would never trust any other person. And this is what has brought me so far. And by far, I don't mean that I'm further ahead or less ahead, or by far, I just mean that I progressed so quickly in my spiritual journey where other people would take maybe decades. I could speed that up into 1 or 2 years where I can perceive my intuition pretty well. Like I remember when I started out, I could barely feel my feeling. I didn't know how to feel my feelings like, and Then through practicing nowadays, I can actually hear my intuition say when I'm in a restaurant or I'm in a shop and my intuition says, no, no, don't buy that. And or I'm walking in the street and suddenly my intuition starts a conversation or I start a conversation and they answer me. And when I say they, it's like it can be different beings. It can be your higher self, it can be different versions of yourself, or even spirit guides. It doesn't really matter at the beginning. I wouldn't care too much. Um, so it's really about practice. But I have to tell you, like, it was a process. It didn't happen overnight. And I also failed quite a lot of times at the beginning. And that was necessary because that makes you learn the lessons. And that's why don't judge or condemn yourself if you're like, oh, I cannot listen to it, or oh, now I practice it and I still can't listen to it. It's all good. You're fine. And there's a lot of tips and exercises you can do, and that's why I encourage you to really start practicing. And listening to the intuition also means you are kind of getting to know yourself, and you realize that the version of yourself that you are now or that you were in the past is not necessarily your true version, because in this world we're kind of hypnotized. We're told things to be true, we're told to believe certain things until we're like, okay, hang on, does this really make sense? Until we start doubting or questioning certain things, or things simply don't work out for us, and that makes us question things. And that's also the kind of, it's part of the journey, actually, that you kind of come to a point where, like, okay, I don't want to live like that, or something doesn't feel aligned anymore. So listening to the intuition makes you come closer to your true self. It makes you become aware of your internal world. And it's really, you don't have to be fearful about it. It's a really exciting journey. Some people think like, oh, sitting in meditation is so boring. But if people say that, then that's because they haven't touched into the depth of the intuition. I tell you something, like, getting to know my internal world has been the most exciting journey I've been on. It's been the toughest and most challenging for sure, but it's been the deepest and most exciting and also funniest one. Like, you can joke with your intuition. um, I I received some jokes from my intuition when at some point, when I calmed my mind enough, I started channeling without actually knowing it. I started receiving downloads without knowing what downloads were at back then. But I received a joke, and seriously, I couldn't have made up that joke. Like, it was like I had to laugh actually at my own joke. Like, I had to read it as soon as I wrote it down, and I had to laugh. And I might share it one day. And so really allow yourself to yeah, get to know your internal world. I tell you, you won't regret it. It's the most, like, really, I'm not exaggerating when I say it's the most exciting journey, because you know what? You realize that first, it's your true self, it's who you are. And secondly, you always find guidance, comfort, love, joy. You find everything there. And even if you feel lost and you feel like you don't belong in this world or everything is so tough, you always find comfort there. You always find stillness. You always find help. And as I said, you find love. And by love, I don't mean like to say, oh, I love you or I need you. I mean that people or the beings or the higher versions, they love you no matter what you do and no matter who you are, and no matter um, what mistakes you did. They love you. And that is really like, a grandma that hugs you when you feel like you're lost. And it's a really wise words and yeah, a lot of wisdom there. That's why I highly encourage you to really just try it out because in this world it gets messier and messier and it's kind of people are kind of um I would not say forced. It's not forced, but we're kind of invited to look deeper and really realize that there are all the answers we've been looking for on the outside world. You can find them there. And yeah, thanks for watching. And maybe see you next time and have fun practicing.